Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we're taking our very first look at the alternate line of French destroyers. And we're going to start out with the Tier 7. Oh, I apologize to all my French folks out there. Aventurier. I apologize. Something like that. It's Aventurier. Something close to that. It means adventurer, I think. Anyway, with that being said, let's look at our commander. We are running Philippe Aboyano. We have Space Fishy as an inspiration, and we have Commander Sella as an inspiration. Now, right out the gate, you're probably going, Spartan, why are you not running concealment? You're always a concealment person. Well, this thing is concealed enough because it gets the go all out skill, which means while Engine Boost is running, I get better concealment. So I don't really necessarily need to worry about concealment, and I would much rather go for the memes. And this is a meme build. You'll see why in a minute, but we're going for torpedo speed. All of it. We are running Subsurface Venture. Yes, you could run this for an extra knot of torp speed, but honestly, having the reload or the torp reload back faster is what you want in this thing. Go all out, obviously, which is just a skill that while Engine Boost is active, your detectability is reduced by 10%, which is crazy good. And then Perceptive. Incoming damage to your destroyer is reduced by 3%, but also shows the closest enemy ship direction. So that comes in handy too. You could choose any of these others as well. I honestly don't blame you if you do, but personally, Perceptive is very strong, and I use it because of all the potential counters to you out there. It's nice to know where they're at. And then, of course, we are running the new skill, the Trident Gambit. Torpedo boost distance is reduced by 15%, which is a buff because that means that your stuff gets more fire chance and faster at a shorter distance, okay, by 15%. But it also reduces your torpedo reload time after your first and every following third torpedo launched in each battle, counted separately for each launcher. Which is hilarious, because it just seems like these torpedoes are always coming back. But it does increase your destroyer main battery reload time, which we don't give a fuck about. Does it come in handy to have these guns? Sure. Is it your primary armament? No. Your primary armament are the torpedoes. Unstoppable. Engine repair time, 15%. But also, if your engine is knocked out, you continue to have some mobility there as well, so keep that in mind. Now, for the rest of it, let's go into it. We are fully upgraded. We're running Aiming Systems Mod 1, just in case that you do get into a fight. You want to hit as many shells as possible. And then we are running the Propulsion Mod 2, because I want to be able to get up and move when I'm sitting in a smoke screen or getting out of a cap or whatever, because you do actually have smoke in this thing, so you can use the DACA a little bit here and there, but I use it more of a get out of jail free card when I need to. And then, of course, we are running the Concealment System module for obvious reasons, and we are running the Torpedo Launchers Mod 3, the epic version. So for every 30,000 damage, we get a faster reload on our torp tubes. Yes, it increases the risk of torp launchers being incapacitated by 50%, but you should try to avoid getting shot whenever possible, because again, we're not a gunboat. We're not trying to just sit there and get shot at the entire game. This is a sneaky ninja strat, right? But, that being said, we do have smoke screens, as I said. So you get a 70-second smoke screen dispersion time. The smoke screen consumable itself only lasts for 15 seconds, so you only get a few puffs of smoke, which is fine. Because, again, I treat it as a get-out-of-jail-free card. You get 4 of them, and they come back every 90 seconds after you use them. So you can get through all 4 smokes, potentially. And if you want to be aggressive in this thing, it can be hilarious. Engine boost, 20% engine boost, obviously. But the duration has been reduced slightly. It's 120 seconds. But it doesn't matter because it's still what we're using it for is not just engine boost, but also the concealment buff when we want it. So we want to hold on to those engine boosts until specific moments. We are running the Hector flag because if you squint just right, kind of looks like a Spartan. And, of course, we have the standard type camo that comes with the ship, right? All right, survivability. With this build, we're only 16,700 hit points. So keep that in mind. Not the toughest little destroyer on the planet, but it is a torp boat, so you'd expect it to be a lower hit points. And then, of course, main battery reload, or main battery, you've got 130 millimeter 45 caliber MLE 1935s. You get 6 of them. You get 1 double turret up at the front and 2 double turrets at the back of the ship. So keep that in mind. It comes in real handy when you're kiting away from a potential threat, right? You can get a little bit more firepower onto them, and maybe they don't expect it. Reload, though, again, we increased our reload a little bit because of our perks, but 7.6 seconds reload time. These are 130 mils as well, so they do kind of pack a punch. They're not the 150 mils, but they do hit pretty hard considering they're only 130 mil. Shell grouping is a 2. HE shell, maximum damage 2018 with a 9% chance to set fires. Whoops. With a 22% or 22 millimeter armor penetration. So again, not the thickest armor penetration in the world for the HE shells. So if you're shooting at battleships or cruisers, you definitely want to shoot superstructure if you don't have AP loaded. And then AP shell, maximum damage only 2400 with a 207 millimeter armor penetration at point blank. So again, not the strongest armor penetration you ever did see, but again, small guns, it's to be expected. Standard penetration angles 45-60. Actually, is it 45-60 or 40-60? I think it's usually 40-60, isn't it? So maybe this has slightly better minimum ricochet angle. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm capping. Either way, doesn't really matter. You're not going to be using the gun. Well, you will use the guns throughout the course of the battle if you know what you're doing, but it's not your main armament. That will go to the 550 millimeter Lance torpedoes, or torpedes. You get 9 of them in a triple launcher, or 3 triple launchers. You get 2 wing launchers, and then 1 rear turret. One front turret that can fire off either side of the ship, and then 2 wing turrets at the back. So, gotta keep that in mind for certain situations where you go to torp, because the very front launcher is actually the very front launcher. Like, it'll be the first one that wants to shoot. So keep that in mind if you want to save the 2 launchers for the rear. You may have to go extra wide to launch the rear torps. They don't have the best torp angles. They're not bad, but they don't have the best. But either way, they're nasty little torpedoes. They're not the hardest hitting torps, but with this build, we've got them reaching out to 11 kilometers. The boost distance is only 7 kilometers, okay? So once they get beyond 7 kilometers, they get faster and faster. Or is that the max? Or is like that when they're at their maximum? That might be when they're at their maximum. So once they hit 7 kilometers, anything beyond that, they're going. They start out at 70 knots. They get up to 105 knots. These are officially the fastest torpedoes in the game, potentially. And then the reload time is only 84 seconds. And like I said, for every 30,000 damage you do, that gets reduced. So these torps come back quickly. And with that gimmick that you have for every 3rd torp launcher, and each torp tube is its own individual. So every 3rd launch on each torp tube, you get a faster reload on your torps as well. It does come in handy. Now, these are interesting. These are a new gimmick. These are fire-starting torpedoes. They can also cause flooding, but they have a much lower chance to cause flooding than even any other destroyer torpedoes. Okay? So, much lower flooding chance, but you're basically guaranteed a fire. And as you can see, at minimum, it's a 100% chance to set a fire. That's a lie. I'll tell you why in a minute, because I've actually hit somebody and not gotten a fire. It's bullshit. Maybe they had their damage control running, I don't know, but it was bullshit. Okay? But at maximum fire starting chance, you got a 400% chance to set fires. I don't understand that, to be perfectly honest, but whatever. How can you get above a 100% chance to set a fire? Anyway, we don't care about the torp launcher turn time because it's always fast. Maximum simulated damage, so the maximum torp damage we currently have with this build, 13,472. So again, not the hardest hitting torpedoes in the world, but they're not light either. They will slap the shit out of you if you're not careful. And they are actually average detectability as well, so they can be detected at 1.2 kilometers unless they're boosted. So beyond the 7 kilometer range, they will actually be spotted out to 2.1 kilometers. So keep that in mind. Arming threshold, 217 meters. Nobody cares because when does that ever come into play? Like literally ever. AA defense, you have 20 millimeter 70 caliber Mark IVs. You get two of those, doing 20 damage per second, reaching out to 2 kilometers. And then, of course, you have the 37mm 70 caliber ACAD MLE 1936s. You get 8 of those, doing 119 damage per second, reaching out to 3.5 kilometers. So it will shoot planes down. In one of my matches earlier, I actually shot down, I think it was 17 planes during the match, because the carrier was just on my giblets the entire game. So keep that in mind. Maximum speed, actually not what you'd expect out of a French destroyer, to be honest. 35 knots, kind of slow. Obviously, you got the engine boost that gets that up over, I think 39 to 40 knots, somewhere in that neighborhood, maybe more. But yeah, not the fastest little destroyer in the world, so you gotta keep yourself in check. And then, like I said, those smoke screens come in real handy for get out of jail free cards. But turning circle radius of 620 meters is pretty good. Rudder shift time of under 4 seconds is pretty good. We don't care about engine spool up and reverse spool up. We don't really care about that. Engine power, 17 knots, whatever. No one cares about any of that. Anyway, detectability by sea, 5.8 kilometers. Detectability by air is 3 kilometers. Guaranteed is always 2, and the detectability while firing in smoke is 2.5. So pretty standard stuff there. And again, not the sneakiest destroyer you'll ever see. We didn't build into it. But if you run your engine boost, you'll get that down to 5.2 instead of 5.8, which does come in handy. Okay? As far as stats go, probably not the greatest stats you're going to see out of anybody today. I went up against a lot of cruisers and destroyers today, so not the craziest damage stats, but I've had a lot of fun in this thing so far, other than obvious when you get caught, but it happens. But main gun accuracy is pretty good. You got to get used to it. They're a little bit slower than you think they are, so when you're aiming, you end up leading a lot more than you'd think. But they do hit hard, especially against destroyers. Like I've been shocked at how effective these 130s are against enemy destroyers, like Jaegers and stuff like that. Even gunboats, you can kind of, if they're low, you can finish them off. I got in a fight with a Z-23 and ended up hitting it with a torpedo and then finishing it with the guns. A little bit of everything. But torpedo accuracy, not the greatest. But again, I've been shooting torpedoes everywhere, right? Everywhere. But average XP so far is over 2,000, so kind of what you'd expect out of a destroyer. Always trying to get those caps and spot and do your job. But overall, armor, you don't have any. It's a destroyer. No fancy gimmicks for the armor that I'm aware of, anyway. Yeah, you can see there's no spaced armor or anything like that. So no gimmicks. And then, of course, it is hidden. Good concealment means the ship can get closer to the enemy before being detected. And again, if you build in a concealment, you can actually make this thing stupid. You're talking sub 5 kilometers detection. Like if you go full detectability build, you're gonna, when you're running engine boost, you're gonna have like a 4.7 or something like that detectability. It's kind of stupid. But that's expected. That's kind of normal for French destroyers in general. But toasty torpedoes, chance to cause fire with the torpedo hit. And again, that is basically a 100% chance at all times. So if you get hit by one of these, you're going to know it. Torpedo boost. Some torpedo parameters change with distance. Again, I like the gimmick. Again, a lot of people thought I was going to hate this thing. And honestly, I've been enjoying it so far. But this destroyer is essentially an enlarged version of Le Hardy. Le Hardy? I think it would be Le Hardy. I don't think the H is a long H. I think it's kind of silent. Featuring upgraded anti-aircraft and torpedo armament, the Spanish Civil War highlighted the heightened threat to ships posed by aviation. So, in late 1930s and early 1940s, consideration was given to reworking Le Hardy project to enhance the power of her air defense systems. She was designed in 1940, doesn't say she was ever built. Honestly, though, I mean, it's nothing fancy to look at, but it is a good little ship. I like it. I like it a lot. So you guys will have to let me know what you guys think about these things if you get a chance to check them out. They are in early access right now, so you'll have to get them out of a crate. And as with all early access ships, if you do not get it in early access through a crate this update, they usually are released to the very next update into the tech tree. So if you don't get it through a crate, don't worry about it. You can always pick it up the next update. So with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we are in the the Aventurier, the Adventurer. We are in the Tier 7 French new destroyer, and we're going to try to showcase a little bit of just how bullying this ship can be. Specifically when your enemy team just decides that they don't want to play. I haven't really had a chance to just go out and bully battleships yet. As you can see, like, this is the kind of matchmaking I've had all day. Like, 1 or 2, maybe 3 battleships in the entire lobby, and the rest are destroyers and maybe a carrier, or destroyers and cruisers all day. It has just not been the best situation. So I fully expect somebody out there to just go out there and obliterate everything with these things, because I think it is pretty strong. At least in my experience. Obviously, there are some hard counters to it. I mean, anything with a radar can be a problem if they know how to shoot. Anything with the extended range sonar can also be a problem. So you got to be careful, but you don't have to be that careful. And I think that's where a lot of people are actually going to find themselves with this thing. It is kind of stupid how fun these things actually have been so far this morning. And again, I know that there are a lot of counters out there, and I'm not saying that maybe this line is for everybody, but I'm telling you, it is fun. It has decent guns, not the fastest reload in the world, so you don't want to get into too many gunfights if you can avoid it, at least not when you're being shot back anyway. And then of course the torpedoes are just funny. Being able to get those torpedoes to boost up to 105 knots is kind of hilarious. Like, to put it into perspective, the fastest torpedoes I've had up to this point were 96 knots, right? But they're 96 knots from the start to the finish. Where these, we have to wait for them to get to 7 kilometers, and then they get up to 105 knots. But it can be a little bit awkward initially to use these torpedoes, just because, like I said, the game tells you where you should aim, and it is pretty accurate in terms of aiming, but you also have to predict where the enemy is going to be. And then obviously we're contested right now. You can see I'm looking over there. I'm like, okay, that smoke screen's not in the cap, so whatever's here is right here next to me. And you can see here comes the widespread for the win. And they ran out. So initially I thought this was actually a Udachi. Thought maybe it was the Screamer Torp Udachi or something, but I don't know. I don't understand how they managed to have the torps run out like that when they're in the cap with me, but I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth, and as I push forward, you're going to notice that I'm actually spotting for my team, and you can see that initially my Monarch and my Dutch Cruiser weren't playing, but Dutch Cruiser does actually come out and start to help, which is huge. And you can see I'm looking at Iowa here. I'm going to go ahead and drop some torps on him. I'm looking at Vanguard as well, and then Laffy gets me spotted, so I just go ahead and just dump the torps on the Iowa, and then I'm going to turn away from the Laffy. But not the bad thing is, the only thing that this Vanguard can actually shoot at is me right now. And despite me, I took a little too long, and he shoots AP at me and still takes a third of my health. And that's the problem when you don't have that many hit points to begin with. So you got to be careful, right? But again, here's that get out of jail free card I was talking about. So you just drop smoke, turn, and get away from them. The destroyer is going to capture the base, but then they're going to do something completely inexplicable, and that is they're going to just go to the center. They're not going to worry about me at all, which I appreciate. I mean, you got a freaking Laffy with a heal and better guns than I got, way better guns in terms of fire rate, and he just could not care less about me. Had me spotted, doesn't care. And so I appreciate you, Laffy. Thank you for being a completely useless gunboat. But as Iowa starts to push in, one of the things I will say, despite this thing having a narrow spread, the narrow spread is really not that narrow. And you'll find that the torpedoes spread out quite a bit. It's only a triple launcher. So there's going to be some gaps. And I thought about shooting the destroyer there, but I don't have my smoke screen ready. And with 2 battleships potentially ready to shoot me, felt like that would be a bad idea. But here you can see I'm just keeping these guys spotted. I'm measuring them up with torpedoes just in case. I don't think I'll need to shoot this Iowa with torps here. So you can see I'm not really committed to launching them. I'm just kind of tracking his movements a little bit. But I just want to keep him spotted so that my team can get rid of him. You can see he's burning. And the enemy destroyer, initially, I'm like, okay, I don't want to go straight into the cap. But you can see the destroyer's last known was heading away from us, potentially towards the Bravo cap. And so what I want you to pay attention to next is paying attention to the minimap. We see a Hector coming over towards us, and we know the Vanguard's out to my right? But watch where the enemy destroyer gets spotted here in a second. And this is going to seal my positioning for the next several moments here. Because as soon as I realize that the enemy destroyer on the minimap is going into Bravo, I know that I can just go straight into the Charlie Cap and capture it, right? I don't have to worry about it. So you can see he's spotted right now going between the islands into Bravo to fire or to go after our other destroyer. And so I'm just kind of left out here to do what I want. And this Vanguard, I'm not going to lie. Again, these torpedoes are kind of weird. You want to wait until you know exactly what the enemy is doing. And then you want to, if they're coming out of a turn like this, you actually want to lead more than you think. I tried to fire at the white line, a little bit ahead of the white line maybe. And yeah, they're just not going to reach him in time. He's actually going to speed up and he's going to get away. Now again, this is a British ship, so they get that built-in propulsion mod and all that stuff. So I should have known better, but you can see the second set of torpedoes, or the third set of torpedoes, and that's something you want to get into the habit of doing too, is realizing you do have wing torps, so you want to be able to flip back and forth and use those extra torps. But you can see these just unfortunately do not have enough room or enough time to get there before he speeds up and outruns them. Which is hilarious when you think about him outrunning 105 knot torpedoes, but it is what it is. But he gets a little complacent after outrunning the first set, and he just maintains his course. So this next set is going to hurt. It may only be 3 torps, and this is what you got to worry about, because you're used to seeing those torps, and you're like, they missed their torps, we're good. And then the third set comes in, and so we actually get a flood there. We get 2 fires. Obviously, he's going to damage control that. But I'm going to keep him spotted. I know the Hector is right there roughly in a smoke screen, so I'm going to put myself in a position to bail on the cap, but also get my torps around so that I can potentially launch the torps off the left side. And you can see that he starts to turn away here. So I'm like, okay, maybe I don't necessarily want to launch at him, right? So I just hold for the time being, and that's when the Hector gets himself spotted coming out of his smoke. And Hector coming towards me is kind of terrifying, but also not really that terrifying. Like, yes, that thing could murder my face, but more than likely I just keep my distance from him and I can torp him and he really can't do much to me. And as he comes out of his smoke screen, he just telegraphs what he's going to do. So I just start launching. You can see I try to give a little bit extra lead on one of the sets here, just in case he speeds up and takes off. But he doesn't end up doing that. He actually turns to come towards me, which is probably the right move to make most of the time because, again, trying to get rid of the destroyer that's tearing your team apart. And again, this is a raffle stomp from get-go, right? All these destroyers and battleships, or destroyers and cruisers, there's just not a lot of hit points there. So one mistake from them and the game just falls apart for them. But we're going to get a hit on the Hector here, and that's what I'm talking about. That man just took a 100% guaranteed fire chance torpedo and didn't get a single fire. And given the fact that those hit, I don't know if they actually traveled the 7 kilometers or not, but if they had, that would be a 400% chance to set fire, and I still didn't manage to set a fire. That's bullshit. See what I'm saying? So I don't know where they get their 100% and 400% chance to set fires, but I got robbed is what I'm saying. But it doesn't matter because he ends up getting set on fire by our Dutch cruiser. We've got more torps on the way to help with that. And then, of course, we dropped 2 more sets on the Vanguard, who decided he wanted to come in and help the Hector, which, unfortunately for him, the Hector was not in a very good spot anyway, because he wasn't playing particularly well. I get rid of the Hector, and now the Vanguard's about to find himself on the receiving end of the other torpedoes. And just like that, my torpedoes are back, as you just heard them come back. And so, despite everything, he's going to get a damage control off just in time to stop me from killing him. I got 4 fires there, by the way, and a flood. And so then he gets a heal off as well, so we're going to go ahead and try to get the kill on the Vanguard here. He's not shooting at us, so we're good. I just want to try to hit his superstructure. Again, you can see if I'm hitting his superstructure, we're doing fine. But if I hit anything that isn't superstructure, I'm not doing any damage, and I just want to get the fire. And you can see I'm just not quite getting the fire. Maybe his damage control's still on... or hasn't hit cooldown yet, but we get this shot out there, and that's going to give me the double fire, and that gives us the kill on him. And then, of course, Monarch out here is charging right towards me without realizing it, and by the time he does realize it, he's like, I got to get out of here. And I couldn't care less. I'm like, okay, whatever. I thought about going dark here, and then I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to shoot this guy. Get as much damage off of him as I can. 123,000 damage done. Torpedoes are back right now, but I figure this guy's probably dead. I mean, he's getting bombed by the Dutch cruiser. He's getting shot by cruisers and HE from everywhere. So I figure he's probably dead. So I'm just going to open fire on him. He's actually going to end up getting a shot off before he dies here, because of course he does. Can't kill him. 6 full penetrations into his freaking superstructure, and he gets another shot off before he ends up dying here. But he takes another third of my health off. That was not, or maybe it was half my health. but leaving me with just enough to get away. But 125,000 damage, 3k base game, top of the leaderboard. I personally think these things are actually pretty fun so far. Let me know if you've had any experience with them, and let me know what you guys think. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.